Andrew Breitbart, who was my friend before his untimely passing, said famously, politics is downstream of culture. And if we allow the radical left to continue dumping toxic waste into the headwaters of our culture, our politics will only get more poisonous over time. The culture we seek to preserve is the culture that's been handed down by generations of Americans who fought for it, defended it, and strengthened it in their time. And at the very core of it is that timeless American principle and belief that we are endowed, each of us, regardless of race or creed or color, by our Creator with certain unalienable rights of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. So for me, it all begins with life. And the freedom agenda starts right there. To restore American culture, we must restore the sanctity of life to the center of American law in every state in the country. Now, it's humbling for me to think that thanks to 3 Supreme Court justices that were confirmed during our administration, the Supreme Court of the United States this June sent Roe v. Wade to the ash heap of history where it belongs. The court gave the American people a new beginning for life. But make no mistake about it, it is only a beginning. The battle for life is far from over. In fact, we've probably just reached the end of the beginning. Yesterday, President Biden actually pledged that if Democrat majorities were reelected in the House and in the Senate, he would use the anniversary of Roe v. Wade in January to codify that infamous decision into law. Well, I've got a news flash for Joe Biden. On January 22nd, 2023, we're going to have pro-life majorities in the House and the Senate, and we're going to be taking the case for life to every state in America. So I say to my fellow conservatives, now is not the time to shrink from the battle, but to lean into the fight for life with compassion and principle. For I truly do believe that many more are with us than are with them. This is a nation that cherishes life. And I believe if we hold the banner of life high, the American people will rally to our cause. Our agenda also calls, of course, for securing our border, protecting our communities, and standing unapologetically with the men and women who serve on the thin blue line of law enforcement. We call for defending the Second Amendment right of the American people, defending religious liberty and the freedom of speech. And when it comes to our schools, the Freedom Agenda recognizes that critical race theory is nothing more than state-sponsored racism, and it should be banned from every school in every state in the land. Joe Biden, in his last State of the Union address, actually pledged to defend the God-given right of men to compete in women's sports. Well, we need to end the assault on women's sports being driven by the radical left and preserve opportunities for our daughters and our granddaughters for generations to come. And on education, the antidote is universal school choice. I must tell you, I come from a state that was home to the very first private educational voucher program in America, sponsored by the late J. Patrick Rooney, a great friend and patron of the Heritage Foundation. And in the Midwest, we were proud of our record on school choice. I doubled the size of our voucher program when I was governor, with states like Florida and Wisconsin, all across this country, moved the ball forward. But no state has done more than what Arizona just did when it became, thanks to Governor Doug Ducey's tenacity, the first state in America to extend universal school choice to every student in Arizona, regardless of their area code or income. And it's an incredible accomplishment. There's much talk in our party and our movement about education, There are people that celebrate our possibility of being known as the parent party. And I celebrate that at the state level. When I first came to Congress, I remember the first bill the president handed us was called No Child Left Behind. It was the largest expansion of the Federal Department of Education since it was founded by Jimmy Carter. So my word to our fellow conservatives is let's stand for education freedom. Let's empower parents. Let's make sure we advance patriotic education. But let's recognize that education is a state and local function, and purpose ourselves to end the federal government's role in education and take every federal dollar and send it back to the states to expand choice and innovation.